Steve Grahame is preparing to drive deep into the lion's den.
I'm going to Fitzroy, to Yelly, back to Fitzroy, up to the start of the Tanamo Road, down to Balgo, to do the big uplift to get those gen sets out of there that we put in November as standby power for the town.
A 6,500 kilometre test of endurance into the heart of the Kimberley, a punishing, untamed wilderness in Australia's northwest. Hammered by tropical heat and monsoonal storms.
Storm cells all around me. I'm going to hit one, I reckon.
This is the ultimate proving ground for Outback truckers. Getting the job done will mean taking on the Kimberley at a terrible time, the end of the wet season. But there's another, more imminent problem.
That's all bits of the front of my truck blowing to smithereens. This is what's left of the tyre. They just blow to smithereens. That's the tyre.
1 week ago, on a routine run, Steve drove through a trucker's worst nightmare.
I was just driving along south of Coolgardie and then just bang.
His steering tyre exploded at 100 kilometres an hour.
Just blowing to smithereens. Headlights blowing out of it. My experience with my last blowout, we were looking at very close to a write-off, and I don't want it to be the case for this one.
With his next job only weeks away, Steve wants to check on his pride and joy.
This is my poor old truck. Doesn't it look sad? When the tyre blew, it's smashed this corner of the bonnet. All this bracketry, this is all bent. Ripped the bottom off the air cleaner, knocked the front of the fuel tank around, and you can see where the tyres come around and smash the front of this bull bar down. It's amazing the amount of damage that they do.
And the damage wasn't limited to his truck.
And of course it buggered my shoulder, just hanging onto the damn thing.
Wrestling with the steering wheel, Steve tore a tendon in his shoulder. With an operation in 1 month's time and a job before that, he needs his truck fixed fast.
So that's the new axle, is it?
But there's delays.
Problem up to this point of time has been sourcing parts. The parts are only just getting here now, so it's the waiting. How are we going for time? When do you reckon?
Like I was saying, I'm still waiting for parts. All the brackets will be probably another 2 weeks away.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
If we can get it to roadworthy, then I can do a trip, bring it back in. That's what we'll do.
Steve's getting worried about the upcoming job. If his truck's not ready, he could lose the contract.
Hey, mate.
I've just come from Parrons where my truck's getting fixed.
Yep.
And I need to know when you think that you might need these units moved out of Balgo so I can start putting everything together, you know?
Do your leg.
Okay.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
See ya.
That's sooner than he wanted. With his truck at least 2 weeks away from being fixed, one more tiny delay could kill this job.
Truck straight out of the panel beaters. They were able to get it to this stage of repair so I could get it out to do this upload out of Balgo.
Steve's truck has just endured a serious rebuild, and he's on edge.
It's always of concern when you've just had major repairs done to a truck. There's little niggling worries, and then of course there's the weather. When I left Perth the other day, the forecast was for heavy rain in the Kimberley. And straight away, here we go again. We're fighting the clock, we're fighting the weather. It just feels like I haven't had a day off.
And there's no rest on the horizon either. Steve urgently needs to deliver machinery and building supplies to a string of remote communities, and all in time for a shoulder operation in 2 weeks.
The whole tendon's torn off the rotor cuff of my shoulder, so there's nothing holding it on.
But first, he's got a delicate negotiation to get through.
Stretch might not be happy to get some strange freight turning up in his yard.
To get his deliveries done in the right order, Steve needs to store some freight at this private business.
I'll go and see the man. Stretch. How you going?
If the owner doesn't let him, Steve's tight schedule will be thrown into chaos.
Hey mate, if I can free that trailer up now, And then when I come back down, I'll get you to load that stuff on me tomorrow and I'll deliver it to the hospital for him and out at Mullinger. Are you good with that? Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it.
How long's that steel going to be sticking back out here?
Till tomorrow. All right, appreciate it. Could have gone in another direction, that meeting.
That's a big win for Steve. Storing his freight here will allow him to tackle a series of deliveries in the most efficient order.
I'll come back and grab it. I'll get it all out of your hair tomorrow. Thanks, Stretch. People out here are generally more direct. There's less bull dust. You will know exactly where you stand. There will be no confusion in the matter whatsoever. And that's the way life is. It's not all grey areas like it is in the city.
With the decks cleared, Steve's ready for his first job. A simple machinery delivery from one community to another.
Righto, Leon, it's your turn to shine, mate. A little bit closer, Leon. Nicely done.
The pickup goes smoothly. But now, real trouble is brewing.
There's a bit of lightning down the road down there. There's a fair old thunderstorm down there. And unreal, it doesn't matter how many times you do these trips, you can't get away from the fact that you're stuck with the weather all the time. Don't want heavy rain on that road. Don't want issues. I don't want them and don't need them. God, I don't want to be bogged.
Steve needs to deliver the loader to the community of Mullinger, 10 kilometres up this dirt road.
That's a pretty hefty old storm out there. That's that storm I was talking about. That's a serious looking storm. If it starts to rain while I'm in here, I might even just go in, see the community, let them know what I'm doing and go back out again.
But now, even getting in might be harder than Steve bargained for.
This is proper rain. Right into it, bugger it.
At this time of year, hundreds of millimetres can fall in a single downpour.
You know, there's only one storm in the whole Kimberley this afternoon that I could see anywhere in hundreds and hundreds of kilometres when I've got it right smack on top of my head.
If it doesn't let up, Steve could get stuck here for days.
There's not as much at the community as what there was out here.
He's in. But now another angry cloud is bearing down on him.
I've got to get moving. There is a big storm coming, so...
Steve's got a torn tendon in his shoulder. But now is not the time for going slow.
This storm's coming. I've got to get moving as fast as I can.
The road out of here is already soaked. One more heavy shower could turn an impassable track impossible.
Yep. I'm racing now. It doesn't look like I'm racing, but I'm racing. This road is slippery. It's slippery. Still got my fingers crossed this storm's going to slip off to the side there.
Steve's in luck. Next day, Steve's back to collect the freight he stored overnight.
The Stretch is up and at it. How you going, Stretch? Do you reckon you can put that bit of stuff back on from that side now? And I'll take it around to the hospital and unload it with my bobcat and take it away and I'll get out of your hair.
Whatever you want to do.
Today is looking good so far, but it's only 8 o'clock in the morning.
But by 8:15, a few cracks are appearing.
No, whoa, go back, mate. Just go up a bit with your stretch, please. Up, up.
How you going, doggy?
Up, please, stretch. Up, mate. Up. Righto.
Loaded. All Steve needs now is for his Bobcat driver, Cuzzy, to arrive and help him unload the freight at the local hospital.
Cuzzy is on his way up from the Tanami. By the time I get this stuff sorted out, he'll meet me here and he'll be the Bobcat driver and he'll be able to tell me about the Tanami.
An hour later, Steve's ready to unload and still no Cuzzy.
Looks like I'm in the Bobcat. I hate that.
Steve's track record with Bobcats isn't great.
That's Bobcat nerves.
But to stay on schedule, he needs to get on with the job.
This is what I hate about the little things the most, it's getting in and out of them. When they make noises.
Steve Grahame's load needs some first aid, but Steve's in luck. The dented sheet is a protective cover, designed for these kinds of mishaps.
Nothing changes, I hate them. The sign on the front of my truck says long distance. That's because I'm no good at local deliveries.
To Steve's great relief, the late-running Bobcat driver arrives.
Cuzzy, am I glad to see you? I had to drive that Bobcat myself, and you know how I feel about those little mongrels.
I know, you hate him.
That's it, mate. I hate them.
With a passion.
Cuzzy has driven from Alice Springs along Steve's next big challenge, the Tanami track.
How are you, mate?
Oh, yeah, not too bad.
Now tell me, what's the Tanami like?
Yeah, I'd take it very, very steady, Stevie.
Yeah.
Time for Cuzzy to strut his stuff.
I'm glad Cuzzy's here. Saves me a lot of grief and drama.
I've known that old fart there for a while, but don't tell him that. I asked him one day, I said, do you ever get used to corrugations? He nearly belted me.
But now, with this load taken care of, corrugations are back on the menu. Next stop, the Tanami track, to collect 2 generators from Balgo, while the weather holds out. But the further Steve drives, the darker it gets.
It's coming around there and then out there towards the desert. It's black. It's not looking good at all. A fair bit of lightning out there, lightning and thunder, but I don't like the colour of the clouds. Doesn't look good at all. Probably going to hit a hell of a big wind any minute now. All that dust is being blown up before the thunderstorm. That's one doozy of a storm out there. It is a big mongrel.
Even in clear weather, the Tanami track is a truck buster. Now, it could be muddy as well. Cruel experience has taught Steve when to rush and when to wait.
Right, well that's me for the day. I'm at the top of the Tanami Road. Got a little bit of light. I'm going to start letting my tyres down now, cook a feed, have a good night's sleep and attack the job in the morning.
But as the sun goes down and a violent storm shatters the sky, Steve must be wondering if waiting was the right decision after all. 250 kilometres of brutal dirt road lies ahead, and it's just been drenched.
slow and careful. If we rush at it like a bull at a gate, forget it. You might as well just go home and go broke.
Now Steve needs to collect two 11-ton generators in Balgo. To lift them onto his truck, he's hired a special side lifter trailer. At $180,000, it's an expensive bit of kit, and it's fragile.
Last time I took one of these out here on this road, it ended up costing me and the company that owned it $11,000 for one of these control panels. And I'm not taking that chance again, you know. I'm actually going to donate my pillows to the cause here. No matter how hard you try on this road, there'll be spots where the corrugations will catch me, you know. I'll be looking out for them, but I'll hit them, they go bang, 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 bang. And that short amount of bang, bang, bang is when all the damage happens to these things. Well, we'll see what today brings.
As Steve hits the Tanami, the last thing he expected.
I'd have to say I'm having a good morning so far.
The water has actually improved the road.
The rain softened the corrugations here. It's a pleasant day at the office.
But you can have too much of a good thing.
You never know how much water's too much water. You wouldn't want to take this road for granted. She's pretty wet and soft through here. You're just looking at water and all of a sudden, that's too much when you're bogged.
He's through the wet section and straight back onto bone-crunching track. With every painful bump,
Oh, you know about that.
Steve's nearer to his destination. Balgo's now on the horizon.
Oh, I'm losing air badly. Here we are, 100 yards from the gate, and I've got trouble.
Compressed air controls all of the brakes on Steve's truck. Without air, his brakes lock on. After a 3,000-kilometre battle, Steve's stranded, and just a few hundred metres from his destination.
Brake booster brackets is broken, and it's dropped down and it's pulled the airline.
His air system has a leak, and it's locked on all his brakes.
It's just those last few corrugations smashed the bracket and broke the bracket off. These sort of things happen.
He's over 300 kilometres from the nearest mechanic. Steve's only option is to fix this himself. First, he needs to remove the brake booster that's causing the problem.
Take that brake out of the equation. And I'm going to rely on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 21 other brakes to do the job.
Next, seal off the leaking airline. To see if it's worked, he restarts his truck to build up air pressure.
Now, it'll tell me whether or not I fixed it. I can't hear any air coming out of there with my old ears. She's a temporary fix.
Next morning, Steve can turn his attention to the real job at hand, putting the rented side lifter trailer to work. After sacrificing his pillows
I hope people appreciate what I do for them.
to protect the control panel, Steve's counting on the side lifter to honour its side of the deal.
Just can't afford to have it break down. I can't afford to have it not do the job out here at the end of the world. I need to be back in the world before this thing breaks. And this is a bit I always hate, hitting the start button on side lifters.
Steve's nerves are understandable.
Shut out, doesn't like it.
His history with side lifters is long
The sensors shut the legs down.
and painful.
I'm pissed off about this. This could be a mechanical failure that I really didn't want. Good start.
But today is looking like the dawn of a new era.
We'll go in the bottom hole, mate. Right, that's one on. That's what I'm here for, is getting the next one on, and then I can relax.
All that's left is to drive on this small concrete truck. It doesn't get much simpler. First, he needs to engage the hydraulics on the heavy steel ramps before gently easing them to the ground.
There is a pin coming out here. They just rattle loose or something. I have to find something, get in there. This thing could have bashed me on the head and killed me if I hadn't been out of the way. I was lucky.
The pin holding the ramp to its hydraulic lifting arm has fallen out somewhere along the Tanami track. Without it, the ramp can't lift, and Steve can't move.
I'll get the machine on first and don't worry about how to get the ram up.
While the truck is easily loaded, to get the ramp back up, Steve needs another pin and some powerful lifting.
They weigh about 200 plus kilos.
He might just be in luck.
Here comes Errol now. My waiting time's nearly over. I am a lucky truckie. Balgo Crane Hire is here now. If you take the weight, then you can possibly get underneath and just guide it on for me. Should be a quick fix.
Time for some bush mechanics. With the crane, they line up the holes on the ramp.
Bit more, mate.
Now to hammer home a steel bar from Steve's toolbox.
Try it, do you reckon?
The moment of truth.
It's not the right pin, but the job's done. That'll get it to town where we've got the correct gear. My shoulder.
Steve needs to get moving. In 6 days' time, he's having surgery on his injured shoulder.
They go in one side keyhole and they open up the other side and go in through the muscle and reattach the tendon in several places.
The operation's in Perth, a 4-day drive away, and Steve's still got multiple loads to pick up and drop off.
Get all this nonsense sorted out with this backload, this bloody side lifter, and get myself in hospital for Thursday. I didn't want to have to drive this truck to the hospital, basically, get out and walk in.
Next morning, Steve's ready for his final piece of freight before he can push for home. There's just one problem.
The side lifter won't start. So here I am again with a side lifter that's let me down. I'm a bit friggin' sad about that.
With his surgery looming, Steve can't afford to lose any more time on repairs.
I might have to leave some freight behind. It's a bloody nuisance, it's a real headache, and I have to get that shifted at my own cost. Now look for a loose wire. Might be something as simple as that.
Without it working, he can't rearrange his load and collect more freight.
All these things are rattle loose in here. I've put pillows in here. I've travelled the road slowly.
Steve has an idea.
That screw at the back there. Yeah. I'm trying to jump-start the motor.
He's looking to bypass the ignition and hotwire the side lifter.
You go across that screwdriver to the big terminal, you should have a start. No, don't hold them. We've got anyone smarter than us around here.
And his badly injured shoulder isn't helping.
For Christ's sake, I can't. My problem is I can't lift up my arm. Maybe you weren't getting it just right, mate.
Finally, he can put the side lifter to work.
I'm opening this out to 40 feet and then I can put these 2 units on this trailer.
Next job, offload the small concrete truck and load a cherry picker.
You right to drive this thing?
I've never driven it before.
Nor have I. All right. Got no idea how to drive the thing.
Emergency stop button, a few bits and pieces.
Ah, right, I'll try and start it now. It's not flat in the battery.
It's not Steve's day.
It's just costing money in every direction because things won't go.
Time for some lateral thinking.
I'm just about over this trip. I've had airlines blow. I'm losing a lot of air. Hydraulic rams blow. The higher gear won't start. And I'm over it.
It's been a tough trip, but now Steve can start the long road home.
The only thing to do now is get out of here.
To make his shoulder operation, he's got 4.5 days to drive 2,500 kilometres.
I don't need any problems on the road. I need a nice, straight run.
Home is now just up ahead. One final obstacle stands between Steve and the end of yet another epic job. His nemesis, the side lifter trailer.
I've got to get it dehired in good order. The side lifter has to be going.
Steve has a $30,000 excess hanging over his head. If the hire company isn't happy, he'll have a massive debt to pay.
It's filled up, Luke. It's full of fuel. But anyway, you check it.
All good, mate.
I'm a relieved man. Yeah, I want my pillows back. They're happy and I'm happy. The trailer's back. The job's finished. That's good. That's good.
Next stop, the surgeon, for a tune-up on his shoulder.